Sorry, I do that just to get. It's a weird thing with Xbox on Twitch. If I don't do that, then all my commentary is like a second or two behind what's actually happening on screen, which makes you know realize that earlier. Then that seems to be the best fix. But anyhow, again, Shaggy SoCal 2Old4Forza. And the other track for next Thursday's TNT races, in almost what was going to be the final week for the Porsche Macan, is again, it's Rio. This time it's the national circuit in reverse. In looking at kind of what I have as the schedule, it looks like this will be the first track for Thursday, and then the full circuit will be the second track. So again, going in the opposite direction. So, there are a couple little subtle changes. Again, we also don't have the top of the circuit at the mountain there. But what I'm going to do is I'll do the same thing as I always do. I'm going to run a lap or two, quick lap to kind of reorient myself. Then we'll go through and I'll point out some things that I look for when trying to get around this course and what the Porsche seems to like and doesn't like. Then, again, do a mock race of what I think might be the race length. So I kind of combine, what I've told you in the track guide with some questionable racecraft, and then we'll see how things shake out. So anyhow, on to driving. So going around the Rio circuit in the opposite direction of what I just did on the full circuit. Again, once you're up to speed, you will not be able to take this in flat out like you could at the end of the lap going the other direction. So you will have to ease off to get in and then roll back into the throttle. Nope, I'm doing the quick laps. I'm not doing the slow lap right. Finish this out. Late apex this. Careful, make sure you don't hit the Armco. It's a little deceptive about where that is. Hitting the chicane of death from the opposite direction. And that's not the best way to do that, but that'll work. And then into I'm a stuck. Hill. Again, bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. Big bounces here depending on how you hit it. Shift. Here, off gas. Split up and fourth. And then roll back in. Lots of different lines are possible through there. This next corner, I'm actually going to follow the braking line. That is one I don't think I will ever be comfortable with, no matter what car we're in. Alright, so I'm actually going to get through the final turn here. And let's start talking about the lap, slower lap, turn by turn of Rio-National-Reverse. So again, as I said, as you're coming down through here, up, not too far, break, go back a little bit. You're not going to be able to take this turn in full throttle. You're going to have to lift going into it. If you can't see the braking line because you're in traffic, look for this huge, ginormous light pole that is just past what's now pit exit. That's a good additional reference point as far as when you need to kind of lift off the gas to go in. And it's not like one of those where you're going to chuck the car in and go off snap off the throttle and harsh turn in to get the back end. I don't think you need to do that. You just need to roll out of the throttle as you turn in. You might feel the back end come out a little bit, but the idea is it's kind of like what I was doing in the tunnel going up the hill on the full circuit. You're just going to ease off the throttle and turn in, kind of let the natural scrub of the front tires and the gearing kind of slow it down. You'll feel it start to grip back up, and obviously you'll see the color change on the braking line if you're on it to start rolling back into the throttle. Let's get it in the right gear. Let's go forward. So the hard part for me is finding an additional reference point for braking at the hairpin. And what I found, and now this is under this current lighting condition, I don't know if it'll be the same for Yeah, I don't know if there's another lighting condition, like a more sunset-y kind of thing. But what I look for is you do have, again, because it's a street course, you have light poles. You have more like street lamp poles. And what I've noticed as you are quote unquote exiting this corner, turn one here, you're going to notice a street lamp that's a little bit brighter on the right side that stands out a little bit more than the others. And if you see it again as you're looking down the left, as you're looking down the not the left side, the right side wall there, you see shade, 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 and you'll see the bright spot where the sun's kind of coming through the buildings, and then just past that is a light pole. You notice how that one kind of really sticks out, especially against the background of the green of the tree. Um, that light pole, if you can find that as you're exiting out, and if you can't see the braking line or where it starts, that's your reference. It seems to line up pretty well with the braking line if you've got good speed coming out. So kind of fixate on where that is. And again, as if you spot it, it's easier to spot early because of the green tree. As you then come out, you start seeing the other ones. But that's the one that you want to look for braking. So bring it almost all the way out. Brake, 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 brake. Second gear, you know, as you get in here. Now, as we know from the starts of the races, again, you're transitioning off of asphalt to, I'm going to call it cobblestone. It it's definitely, I think it's a little bit slipperier. So again, just as you transition, just know that you're going to just adjust your braking. Be careful, especially as you release and turn in. This is usually one of the calamity corners because of that. Ideally on your own, unlike when I go the other direction where I kind of really hug the inside curbing or this hairpin. Um, Going the reverse direction, it's actually better to take a wider entry. So you're going to miss the first. You're going to miss that first apex there. Be a little bit wider so that you can late apex and take the second one. The hard part with that one is it's because there's so much room. You've got so much room to take different lines through. It's one of those that contact usually happens because someone sees a gap on the inside, but then the guy on the outside doesn't know that it's there, or someone gets too hot into the corner because of that little jump onto the curbing onto this cobblestone or brick. So there's always going to be a little bit of contact, especially at the start of the race, and then especially later in the race when we start working traffic. So just again on your own, the ideal line is a little bit wider of an entry. It does leave you a little open if someone wants to take a lunge, but you want to late apex. Maybe clip this curb very slightly as you exit. Rolling back up through the gears. Now, as I said on kind of the outlap, be careful on the exit of this next corner. Um, my bad habit is, you'll clip this curbing here a little bit. Visually, that Armco is very, very deceptive as far as where it's curving and how it's curving. And so from here, it looks all nice and straight. But as you exit the curbing, as you exit, you notice that it angles out and then takes a sharp turn, when it finally like rejoins the edge of the track. It's very easy to think, oh, I can go just all the way out to the Armco, and then you exit too early, and all of a sudden it kinks up, and I've clocked where the people are standing, where it makes that bend. I've clocked that so many times in races, and I never learned. So I would say is a good target as you're exiting out to make sure you're leaving yourself a little wiggle room, so you don't clock the Armco early. Is look to exit just before the 50 board, and that way you're always giving yourself that margin of error, just based on how that Armco is. Again, it's one of those visual things. It's hard to really see how that angles out, but yeah, that hopefully will keep you from clouding the Armco early, and then kind of ruining your lap. And then you never know, if someone's right behind you, they may rear end you. So getting hopefully all the difficult stuff out early. Now we're heading to the chicane. This isn't actually Prague to me is chicane of death. This is chicane of bodily harm coming up. This is a tough one to get right. Coming up through the gears, again for me the entry it always seems to work best for me is I'm going to clip this curbing here just a little bit, and I'm going to brake about halfway between that curbing and that curbing. And if I've done it right, I, and again, I'm consistently inconsistent, is I don't really clip this curbing here up ahead at all when I'm getting to the brakes. But what I'm trying to do is get it down. I think back down to third, and I want to turn in so that I can clip this curbing and really be as straight as possible getting to the next one. Now, again, I think what will probably tend to happen is I'll probably still arc to the right a little bit, and then have to bring it back, and then turn it, bring it back left, and then turn it a little bit right over that second curving. Traffic may also dictate where you're able to take this straighter because the other guy's gone a little wide, and you're going to try and get a run on him out of here. So again, clip the curving there. You can clip the curving there, and then just start to bring the Porsche out. Ignore that one. Miss that one entirely. And just start bringing the Porsche, this Macan, all the way out to the left side, heading up to what I am now calling this next turn, I'm a stuck. And if you're new to TNT and you don't know what I'm a stuck means, is one of our competitors, Landrail, um, in a race here, and I think we were in the Renault Clios. Somehow got it wrong. I don't know if it was on his own, if it was in traffic. But I'll show you here on the exit. The exit of this turn, he got it completely wrong and sideways, and you know, the exit of this turn, if you get it wrong, is not forgiving, and clouded the wall. And I'll show you where he clouded it. He was completely sideways, and in his accent from Dominican Republic, that I'm a stuck, and and it just and the way he said it, he did it much better than I did. It's just now been the meme ever since. When one of us, gets it wrong and gets completely, we get stuck. I'm a stuck. Um, so for me, it, I think as sketchy as this turn is coming the other direction, coming down the hill, um, you're at least doing a lot of braking to get turn in. I think it's a little easier and a little more forgiving if you get it wrong, um, unless you totally hit the tire bearers. But going this direction, I am playing chicken a little bit with the red tire barrier here on the left side. I am trying to open this up as much as I can. So as I'm approaching it, and I wasn't paying much attention, is like I am doing a quick brake just prior to this and then turning in just as I'm getting to this tire barrier. And again, I'm playing chicken with it because there's no forgiveness on that because it's the flat side of the tire barrier because we're going in the opposite direction. It would have been nice if they would have had a little more of a slant, maybe wall off of that so that if you do get it wrong, you just kind of rebound off of it. But nope, that's not what they gave us. So it's quick brake and turning in, just missing that tire barrier. And what I'm trying to do is, and I think I'm still in third gear, is I am trying to turn in and get back to the throttle, and I will cut this just a little bit. Um, this is the other thing where it's very easy to turn in early and overcut this curbing and incur the time penalties. Just know that that's a possibility. So it is again threading the needle. The other thing to watch out for is if rolling back into the throttle, that again, because this Porsche Macan understeers on throttle, and especially if you're trying to carry momentum through this corner, is not only are you playing chicken with the tires on entry, you are playing chicken with this wall here on exit. And this is where Landrail got it wrong, got spun out, and wound up hitting this barrier. I want to say I don't know. I don't think he hit it head on. I think somehow he got spun. He spun out and actually ended up sideways, facing the outer wall, up against this wall here. And that's where the "I'm a stuck" meme started for this group. But you're kind of playing chicken with this on the way out. The best thing is, if you think you're getting it wrong, ease off the throttle. Get some additional steering back and get off of, and avoid hitting this. There's no margin for error here. Which again, it's high risk, high reward. You push it, you might wind up. If you can bring it back across, great. Hopefully, there's not somebody also kind of skimming it where you don't have the ability to get back across. We'll see. We'll see what type of calamity ensues uh, on the exit of this corner. If you survive, you're racing up here in third gear. You'll probably upshift to fourth, maybe most of the way up the hill. Maybe about here you'll put it in fourth. Again, I don't have any particular line through here that works. Experiment, find out. It's bumpy, and some lines you may launch the car in weird ways, some not. I don't think I've had a situation where I've come up through here in this Macan where I've hit the bumps or hit a weird bump where it's really unsettled the Porsche and put me in the wall, or I had to get on the brakes to get it back under control. So I think compliant suspension helps a bit here, but just know that depending on the line you take, you might get launched a bit, you might not get launched, you might have a little bit, the back end might kick up. Again, it's a bit of a roll of the dice, but once you get the Macan settled in fourth gear, now we're heading to the tunnel. Now, for me, the braking point lines up with, and again, I'm using a pole, but I'm guessing, I don't know what that bluish stand is. I don't know if that's a light thing or whatever, but that's usually, I use that as the reference. I'd look for that um, to know that to get on the braking. So fourth gear, brake down to third, try to keep to the left, turn in. I've been using, right about this here. Oh, it's a telephone pole. I'm looking at that other one. So it's a telefono. So I'm using kind of this last light pole here as a reference for turn in. So I really want to have my braking done and start to release the brakes as I turn in for the corner. You still want to try and maintain speed. You want to clip this apex here, but the worst thing you do is you don't want to hit. You want to be able to exit out. Excuse me. You want to be able to exit out and roll back into the throttle without clouding the Armco here. That'll kill any momentum you have. So roll back into the throttle, third gear. And what I'm trying to do is I'm starting to turn in is I'm going to release the throttle just as I enter the tunnel, and then let it get set. And probably as I pass the first lights there over the grading, I'm actually going to put it into fourth. And this tunnel, is going to have, again, as you kind of look, it kind of tightens up on exit, but this is one of those. I think there's a couple different lines you can take in here, depending on what works best for you, depending on traffic. Maybe the guy that you're racing against that's ahead of you goes in a little too hot and he pushes wide early. You can kind of cut to the inside and maybe out, do the crossover on exit. Usually what I try to do is I put it into fourth and I start rolling back in. I like staying as tight as I can through here, and where the tunnel then starts to open up is to then bring it back across so that as I'm exiting the tunnel, I'm on the right side coming down the hill. Again, I don't think there's, use the line that works best for you. But usually it's like I want to be on the right side coming down the hill. Now this next corner, there is, now again, when we did this in the normal direction, coming from the other direction in turn 3, it's like you clip the apex and you use all the cobbles, use all that brick and cobblestone on the exit to get momentum coming up the hill. This is one there's 3 different lines I think you can use through here. And it's going to be up to you to figure out what works best for you, what gets you the most momentum, and then what minimizes your risk of getting T-boned at the apex. So this is definitely a calamity corner, just because of the way the track limits are set, because everybody's going to have a different line through here, or what they think they want to do, or what they think works best for them. I think be mindful of, I would say, the line you choose for this next corner, I think, really should be dictated on what's going on with traffic. If you've got somebody behind you, doing the uber wide line might not be the best thing to do because you're basically just opening the door and telling them, go ahead and take a shot down the inside. And you know what? They are going to beat you to the apex if you go wide. So let me I'm gonna do a kind of slow what I think the three lines are, and then you guys can figure out what you want to do. But let's do the first one that you're going to see with the braking line is, and I think the breaking point starts about the same place. It's right about where this wall ends. Is the absolute latest you're going to want to get onto the brakes, and you're going to be in fifth gear. And you're going to be needing to get into second to make the corner. So this is the absolute latest you want to start getting on the brakes or get to the brakes, and it is heavy braking. So the braking line I think the game shows you is kind of a hybrid of you're going to be on the asphalt here as you're braking, but it's going to want you to get onto the curbing here late as you get down into second, and then make the corner. And this is much sharper corner than you think it is, and then as you make the exit here. So that's I think what the game shows you. Now I think what you're going to see some of the faster guys do, and I may or may not be part of that. Again, I've not got it sorted to where I'm comfortable doing it. Is let me back it up a little bit more. Is you're going to see them as they come down to the braking, they're going to follow the wall. Brake. So they're going to be way out here, down into second, so that they can turn in. And the whole idea is they're going to do a late turn in, and I might still be turning in too early for this, is they're going to do a late turn in and actually be rolling back into the throttle way early before the apex, hoping that, assuming they don't hit anybody or they don't get hit anybody, that they're going to be able to have a better exit speed out onto the straightaway here. Again, the risk is that you're opening the door if somebody's close by to take a shot down the inside and beat you to the apex. But the reward is if that doesn't happen and you can get the car rotated and you're back on the throttle early, you've got better exit speed out. I think that's the general philosophy of what they do there. And then I'm going to show you just kind of another line that I was playing around with. And I'm going to call it, I don't want to call it it's kind of the it's the I would think the safer entry. It's also the one that's, if you want to block a little bit, slightly, it's a little bit more of a defensive line. It's not full defensive, but would be is as you get down and you start braking, you see this line that I'm on, just follow it straight into the corner. So again, third gear, heavy braking down to second, down to second gear. You are going to clip this curbing here on the inside. That's fine. Release, you're in second gear, and then out. I think regardless, it's very easy to start to get back to the throttle too early once you hit the apex, and then you're gonna nose the right front end of the Armco here on the right side. So I'd say as you hit the apex, spot the digital sign there in front of you that changes color. If you spot that and try to get the Porsche lined up where you're gonna aim for that sign, that should leave you room on the outside to get good momentum, and then you're hugging the inside there on the way out. Again, at least three different lines you're going to see, and I'm sure somebody's going to go uber defensive and be all the way on the left side on the way in. Honestly, if you're going to go that far to the left, you're going to really go far to the left defensively, you're never going to make the corner. You're going to be so slow out. So I would say, if you're going to go defensive, I'd say follow that painted line is probably your best bet. It will still make the other guy think about what line he wants to take in, whether he wants to go wide and maybe try a crossover on exit, or if he's going to try and stick the move to the inside, you might still have a little bit of room on the outside. So it's going to be one of those. It's a crapshoot. of what'll happen. But I would just say let traffic dictate the line you take through there. So enough about that, because it's one of those. I'm going to talk about it a lot. In the mock race, you're really not going to see. I really can't. The AI is really not going to show the different lines there. So you guys have to work that out on your own. So again, up to third gear, fourth gear. I take this turn much differently than what the braking line shows. I bring out, I bring the Porsche across all the way to the left here. I think the racing line wants you to be a little more shallower through here. And for me, it's like I'm up to third gear. I'll be right about fourth. I'll probably shift into fourth right as I turn in, kind of using that curbing there. Fourth gear, I'm usually doing way out so I can late apex it. So I can late apex this corner. Usually I tend to carry a little bit more momentum than someone that's taking the line that's being shown. And because I late apex it, I'm already on, I'm more towards the right side for the final left-hander. Now this one, again, it's kind of like, turn one going the other way. You can't do this one flat out. And you do want to kind of late apex it. If you apex too early, you're going to push white here. So I kind of used that light pole, somewhere between that light pole and where the curbing starts here, where you start seeing that curbing. That's about where I'm going to be kind of letting off to get the Porsche rotated in. Ideally, if I'm doing it right, I'll probably late apex about here, and hopefully be back to full throttle, letting the Porsche kind of drift out to the right side on exit. And the reason why I say you don't want to apex that too early, because this wall here, if you scrape it, it's one of those Forza sticky walls. They want to discourage wall riding. So if you get on it too much, all of a sudden, even if you get off of it, your speed's going to drop, and you're going to have to downshift, and that might then leave you open. You might get run into that. It definitely then kills your momentum down into the next corner, especially if you got somebody close behind you. So that's Rio-National-Reverse, and just kind of what I look for and what I think works for this Porsche. Let's go ahead and get into a race. Finish the test drive. Okay. Now for the race setup, it is a shorter lap. It's about a minute. We're gonna be in the minute 40s. 40, like I was doing a test lap. I think I did the calculation off like a minute 45. I wouldn't be surprised to see 44s. We'll see. I don't know if a 43 is possible. Maybe. But based off of that, I'm thinking you might be seeing about 20 laps for the race. So a few more laps than the other one, than the full circuit. But again, I'm going to do the same classes, same buckets, and let's see what happens. It looks like it's a little warmer out. We're going to see some heat haze across the track. And I wonder if we're going to see any tires on the road on this first lap from that opening group. See how clean they keep it. All right. So opening lap, depending on how far back you're starting, you won't need to worry about. I don't think you really need to worry about lifting through one. So again, I'm gonna keep an eye out for that light pole against the tree behind it. That should point. There it is. Back on the throttle. 50. The funny thing is that if you do go out and hug the wall approaching I'm a stuck, it will help line you up where you kind of reduce the risk that you're going to clout that red tire barrier. I'm going to try the various lines through. Yes, I can't. I'm probably, given that I'm, kind of going up on the bricks there, I'm probably not. Probably need to brake a little bit sooner. That might be part of the problem there. Or I'm just unwilling to redline the con on the downshift. Good, I've got a buffer now to the faster cars behind me. You just block them for me. So again, if you hug the wall a little bit, you can see it kind of gets you on the right angle into I'm a stuck. A little bit too late there. I'm going to do kind of my defensive line. Let's see how that works. Yeah, you do have to do a little bit sharper turn on exit. Oh, second gear. What am I thinking? Didn't time that right. Oh, that's the first time I've done that in a while. Means that's not the first time I've done that. Alright, so let's try the wide line. I cut the curbing a little bit too much because of the, I was trying to undercut the, '9 there, but, excuse me, how do you not see that I'm there? So yeah, so again, pit exit's going to be a bit interesting when pit cycles start. So if you can figure out how to get through turn one without going all the way to the inside, that will that will help you when people are exiting the pits and you're not having to make adjustments that you might do. Ooh. Oh, why you checked up there? A little too early. Oh, that's why I was putting it in fifth when you really don't need to. And then when I was downshifting twice here, just out of cadence, it was in third instead of second. So yeah, stay in fourth gear heading into the hairpin. You can see again that line just following it straight in works, but you're going to be really slow at the apex. So I think it's a good thing to try maybe defensively, or if you want to maybe even offensively if you want to try and beat the guy to the apex. The hard part is it's going to be very tough to see where everybody's at. So just situational awareness is going to be very important there. Ooh. What kind of bucks the back end up? That's a little better. little bit of fun, but I don't think I'm going to get him up the hill. Whoa! Check out the grade the exit. Oh, that was a little dangerous. And again, much like the other races, we'll pit about lap 10. Good point. Oh, that's time penalty. Trying to give you the different looks of the lines you may see, or you may want to try, you may see from other. I need to encrypt behind me. Almost went 3 wide. Bye. Little box. I say, what's that revving I hear behind me? And it's the ping ping. He's going to make this a little difficult, isn't he? All right, so fitting in. It's going to be the same approach as if you're going to do the last turn. It's just you're not going to get back to the throttle as early. Brake a little bit. Oh, yeah, I need to practice this. Hey, let's practice this. I think it's because I've got traffic behind me, and it makes it a little problematic. I don't know what they're going to do, so I'm going to keep it to this lane. He's off. Yeah. Good luck. That's going to be fun. But you can use the inside grass a little bit. So maybe instead of trying to take the normal line and dive bomb in, just take that second lane out from the right, and then just kind of ease off the gas and run and roll it in. And you kind of flip the curbing. The exit's much easier. The exit out, you've got plenty of kind of merge space. I would say then just merge back on. Keep it in the left lane because of traffic. And again, because you have that additional reference point, you can just keep it all the way to the inside. Return for the hairpin. Probably the safest way to do that. So, for the full circuit, the entry's easy, but the exit's not. It's national. The entry is not easy, but the exit is. Wow, only came out in 8th place. Pretty good. And I'm knocking back a little bit further. Whoa. Well, thank you for leaving that door open for me. Took that kind of that defensive line. Again, if you get used to, if you kind of follow the racing lane through turn 1 there, that should keep you wide enough that if you happen to, as you're coming through there, if someone's just exiting the pits and merging back on, you should be able to, maintain your momentum without having to really check up. Just the line just a little bit. There's part of me that wonders if you can take on a stuck flat, but again, it comes back to that risk versus reward. Is it worth the gain you all that much at the cost of getting it wrong and getting stuck? Miles an hour, apex that way. I looked up to look at the time, and it's like, oh, shit. Oh. Okay, so yes, you could probably do it flat, but then again, you saw I really had to lift there. So again, I would say if since you're probably gonna have to lift regardless, probably better to lift a little early so that you got a better exit. Oh yeah, about 45 there. So yeah, so again, that wider entry gives you a little more, you've got a bit more speed coming out of there. Again, but the risk is that you're really leaving yourself open if someone wants to take a lunge. So just, as you're kind of coming down the hill, kind of gauge who's around you, if there is someone around you, and what you think you can get away with. Yeah, I can get back to the throttle a little bit earlier with that. Ah, 143.9. It would have been quicker had I stayed off the tires. Plenty of room behind me, plenty of room in front of me, so I'm kind of back in no man's land. Trying to take advantage of that. Because you're not hitting those curbs straight on. And wobble a little bit under brake. No! Tried it in fourth that time, but again, it's back to that in fourth because the gearing isn't going to slow the car down or put it on its toes. It doesn't want to turn as much. A lot freer in there, and that's, I don't know, I kind of want a little more stability. Oh. That's the problem. If you get that line wrong, you don't get all your speed down. You're just going to go right in the arm out. Okay, so mid to high 43s maybe. Bucket 5, maybe a little quicker. At this point, I don't care about lap times. I want to keep that guy behind me. But I still want to go as quick as possible. I want to keep that guy behind. Ooh, pushing wide. Again, that lap I probably went as wide as I did when I did it in fourth because he was in the higher gear. The car was just a bit more stable, where it's easier to bring it back across and not hit the wall. I'll try hard for him now. I want to try and keep. I want to keep fourth if I can. Had a bit of a run, so I'm going to go defensive. My best Gandalf impression. You shall not pass. Yeah. Oh, that would have been a big time penalty. Thought about taking the more, quote unquote normal line, but just too much momentum. That could have been better. He was looking, so it's like, nope, I want to change my line. I had to do that once. Twice would be blind. Oh, almost got that wrong. He got it really wrong. That's good. I think at that point, he's still going to catch me by the bottom of the toe. I want to chance it. And I almost put it in the wall. I almost did not get it slowed down enough. Right. I definitely missed the turn in. But 43.9. There's more time in that, but good approximation. What you might see on race pace, but 36, yeah, 20 laps, probably about the distance you might be running. Maybe 21, maybe 19, but 20 seems a good number. But with that, that's Rio de Janeiro National Circuit Reverse. That one's going to be fun. I think that one's of the two. Well, I don't know. I think they both have their issues, but hopefully we've learned kind of how these Macans need to race each other to have good races, and that we make good decisions and pay attention to what's going on around us, and hopefully have a safe race. But with that, I'm going to stop talking. You guys, hope you have a great weekend. See you Thursday night, and happy racing.